Spoiled sister couldn't stand that I was doing well in life, so she spray painted my house. I posted the video online. Parents called me too selfish, but they were left speechless after hearing what the police officer I brought had to say. I am 30 years old, and my younger sister Jennifer is 26. We do not get along, and it is unlikely that we will in the future. I cannot understand why she enjoys causing trouble for me, but her actions this time ended in failure. She has been spoiled by our parents since childhood. I am extremely perplexed about this. My parents used to focus solely on me, but as soon as Jennifer was born, I was sidelined and never regained their attention. Believe me, I truly tried my best. I worked hard to persuade them, but ever since Jennifer was born, I simply had no luck. I excelled in sports and participated in dancing, singing and acting in school plays, but none of it impressed my parents enough to earn their attention. Everything revolved around Jennifer. It was truly bizarre. This is because in my eyes she did not seem to possess any remarkable talent. I may someday forgive how my parents treated me, but Jennifer was spoiled, cocky, and accustomed to being the center of attention. She could not tolerate anyone else being in the spotlight. Whenever I brought home good news from school, she would find a way to make the day about herself, and my parents allowed it. When I turned 18, during a birthday party my parents threw for me, we received a call from the police. Jennifer was drinking with friends and got caught by the police. While her friends escaped, Jennifer alone was apprehended. I expected my parents to be worried, but in reality she faced no major consequences. The police let her off with a warning. My father, being a police officer, merely scolded her lightly when they brought her home, and no serious punishment followed. Despite ruining my party, this was not her last act of selfishness. When I got my first job at the age of 21, she came home with her boyfriend and announced her engagement to our parents. This was despite the fact that she was only 17 at the time. As a result, what should have been a special day for me turned into a celebration of her engagement instead of my new job. Once again, the spotlight was taken away from me. Personally, I felt that was the last straw. That day I had a heated argument with Jennifer and my parents, who refused to understand my perspective and accused me of being overly sensitive and dramatic. Since then I have not spoken to my parents. They have tried to reach out to me several times, but 9 years have passed and I still have not talked to them. I feel that they love Jennifer far more than they love me. Jennifer has never tried to contact me. She broke off her engagement with her boyfriend just weeks after they got engaged. In the end, her actions were solely to gain attention, so I am glad I did not give her any. It is a good thing for me that she didn't reach out to me. She is a very self-centered person, and I do not want to be involved with her. Even though we have not spoken for 9 years, she might know something about my life. We see each other at family events occasionally. As such, my parents and Jennifer probably know that I am doing well. I currently live in a very nice house and constantly strive for self-improvement. I make an effort to choose and wear high-quality clothing. I do not currently have a family, nor do I plan to have one in the near future. I run my own business and spend all my income on myself. This is something I have been wanting to do for a long time, and I am very excited about it. 2 years ago, when my business became stable, I purchased a new house and moved out of the apartment I had lived in for years. I strictly instructed all my relatives not to share my address with my family, especially Jennifer, but somehow she found out. 6 days ago, in the evening, she suddenly showed up at my house and vandalized it. As I was leaving for a party, I discovered my house walls covered in horrible words sprayed in bright red paint. The walls and windows were covered with even more hateful graffiti. Who could have predicted this would happen? I stood there in shock for several minutes trying to comprehend the scene before me. I thought about calling the police but realized it would be pointless if this was Jennifer's doing. Even if I contacted the police, my father and Jennifer would sweep the incident under the rug, and she would only receive a warning. After understanding what I had seen, I recognized the handwriting as Jennifer's and checked the security camera footage just to be sure. Jennifer was wearing a hoodie, but that hoodie clearly identified her. The moment the camera caught a slight glimpse of her face, I was certain it was her. However, it was obvious that calling the police would be futile. My father would intervene and she would escape accountability. This is based on past experiences, not only from what happened on my 21st birthday, but also from rumors I've heard about her from relatives. It's not uncommon for Jennifer to take advantage of my father's connections. The reason for her behavior is obvious. Her life isn't going well. According to some people, she started a new business a few years ago, but it ended in disastrous failure, leaving her to repay debts, including those from her previous job with help from our parents. My parents did not condone her behavior and she had no other options. Eventually she gave up on everything and turned to drinking and drugs. My father is fully aware of her actions. He knows all about her shady dealings and always helps her cover them up. Whenever she gets into trouble, he always bails her out. Recently it seems that Jennifer has had a hard time accepting the fact that I have been successful. This is especially true since I appeared on the cover of a local magazine, which became a topic of conversation among our relatives. She hasn't matured much since childhood and has rarely accomplished anything on her own, so her weekly parties are no longer something she can brag about. She is also emotionally unstable. For that reason she felt the need to damage my house and make a statement that I don't deserve the kind of recognition I've been receiving. What I'm about to say might sound cold, but part of the situation Jennifer is facing is self-inflicted. She has never been the type to work hard or dedicate herself to anything. She has always expected things to go well for her naturally, and my parents enabled that behavior. It's only natural that she ended up in this situation. When I saw the footage, I knew reporting it to the police would be pointless. This is because my father would never abandon Jennifer, no matter how difficult the situation. However, despite 9 years of no contact with me, my father chose to direct his anger at me. He wanted to protect the daughter who got into trouble. But unfortunately, that daughter was not me, it was Jennifer. After thinking long and hard, I decided to upload the video to social media to see how others would react to my father's actions. I took several photos of the words written on my exterior walls, believed it to be Jennifer's doing, and posted them on social media, though I could not report it to the police. A few hours later, comments began to surge, so I unblocked my family to let them see the post as well. Jennifer messaged me, asking me to delete the post, but I told her I would not comply. She has no authority to force me to do anything, and if she wants to take legal action, it's her responsibility to prove that the person in the video isn't her. If it comes to that, the matter will go to court. The discussion went nowhere, but honestly she has more to lose. Even though she damaged my house and I had to pay for repainting costs, it wasn't a significant issue for me. On the other hand, if she chooses to pursue this legally, I have the funds to cover the costs involved in court. If she wants me to delete my post, she must prove to me that the person in the video isn't her, but she can't do that. This is because the person in the video is undoubtedly her. This placed her in a very difficult position. The issue was no longer limited to her, but also involved my father and others who had been supporting her. She likely never anticipated things would escalate this far. She probably thought that if I reported it to the police, my father would intervene, and everything would be swept under the rug. However, I understand the dynamics of our family very well. This time she picked the wrong person to mess with. As a result, after I sent her a message, she showed no reaction and did not reply for several days. The post remained online, visible to our acquaintances, friends, family, and even family friends. 2 days ago, she contacted me again, stating that she was prepared to pay for the repainting costs and just wanted me to call her. She asked me to delete the post, but since the issue wasn't about money for me, I ignored the financial offer and demanded that she acknowledge her actions and publicly apologize. I told her I would only consider deleting the post after she did so. At that moment she began to plead, saying she was ready to apologize directly or in any other way I preferred, but she emphasized that she would not apologize publicly. She argued that a public apology would require her to accept responsibility for her actions, which could risk losing the clients who still supported her. It wasn't clear which clients she was worried about. She is no longer at the forefront of any business. Whenever she is asked questions about her business, she continues to deny everything, but accepting a public apology would only harm her reputation further. However, I did not care about that. I told her that this was what I wanted, and she could either comply or leave the post as it was. For me, it was a very simple choice. After I refused to negotiate, she repeatedly messaged me, trying to persuade me, but I did not feel like responding. A few hours later, my father called me. He pointed out that my post was causing serious damage not only to my sister, but also to her reputation. He stressed that since she values her career, she could not afford to be derailed by such circumstances. Once again, I was strongly urged to take the post down, but I refused, which only brought further disappointment to her. If she had not acted this way towards me in the first place, I wouldn't have felt compelled to post about her actions. Despite her reputation being in jeopardy, my parents chose not to urge Jennifer to apologize publicly. Instead, they harshly reprimanded me over the phone. They accused me of being arrogant in my success, thinking I could act however I pleased and escape the consequences. As I was about to hang up, my mother began to cry and said sadly, "I never thought you would act like this." She admitted that Jennifer and I had been treated differently since childhood, but strongly criticized me for never responding to their attempts to contact me over the past 9 years. She argued that it was unfair for them to be seen as the villains in this situation. They claimed to have changed significantly as people. Ultimately, by refusing to delete the post, my father's reputation was also damaged. This has only caused further tension and friction within our family. I didn't even give my father a chance to show me how much he had changed. Now, I feel somewhat conflicted about the situation, and am deeply troubled about how to navigate this difficult time, especially regarding my relationship with my parents. Despite my father's reputation already being tarnished, I have no intention of deleting the post about my sister. If my father had responded seriously, he could have undoubtedly saved her. The fact that the post further damaged her reputation was an intended outcome, and precisely what I wanted. I have no regrets about not reporting the incident to the police. I am confident in my judgment regarding the type of drugs Jennifer had been using. While I don't fully know the details, it is clear that all of her actions were illegal. It wasn't just about drug dealing, it extended to other unlawful activities as well. If she had been earning money through illegal and dishonest means, that was a significant issue. Furthermore, my father actively helped her conceal such facts. He outwardly pretended to be an honest police officer, but in reality, his actions were far from it. Therefore, there is absolutely no reason for me to delete the post just to protect her reputation. They have repeatedly tried to contact me for legitimate reasons, but I have consistently refused their attempts. After carefully reading the comments on my post, I became convinced that there was no need to delete it. All the criticism my family is currently facing is a result of their own actions. This situation arose because of their behavior, and I am fully aware that I am not the villain in this matter. Even now, days later, the post remains on the internet. The repainting of my house is already complete, and the graffiti has been completely erased. I no longer feel it is worth waiting for my parents or sister to pay me back. and I have come to terms with that aspect of the situation. I have chosen to ignore the repeated text messages sent by my sister and have no other option but to continue doing so. What I truly want is a genuine apology from her. It should be something publicly acknowledged, and until I receive a proper apology from her via email, I have no intention of deleting the post. This is because the post has already been seen by many people and is widely recognized. All my relatives have avoided any contact with Jennifer and my parents. In fact, no one even attempts to speak with them. Most of the people we spend time with have reached out to me and informed me that Jennifer shows no signs of complying with my demands. This indicates that they understand and support my position. To me, these are completely reasonable requests, but they act as if I am demanding something unreasonable from the whole world. It is truly unfortunate, but I am no longer surprised by their behavior. They have consistently acted this way, and I have come to accept that reality over the years. The decision I made 9 years ago to distance myself from them was an excellent choice. They do not deserve to be a part of my life. Additionally, today my parents came to visit me, but they were not alone. The family lawyer accompanied them. Not only my parents, but also my uncle came along, yet despite this, I did not take down the post. After my uncle threatened to file a lawsuit, they showed me the legal documents Jennifer had prepared. This was meant to demonstrate that they were serious about resolving the issue, not just making threats. However, neither the documents nor the presence of their lawyer intimidated me in any way. When I called Jennifer to join us, they made no move and simply sat there. They emphasized that deleting the ridiculous post would give me a chance to avoid a massive lawsuit and urged me to seriously consider it. When I remained silent and unresponsive, my father angrily pounded his fist on my coffee table. This was incredibly upsetting. The table was very expensive, and more importantly, I had no intention of discussing anything with my father. When Jennifer finally arrived, she continued to try to negotiate with me, repeatedly insisting that forgetting about that specific post would save us both a lot of time. However, I refused to delete it. There was no sufficient reason to forgive them, and I could no longer endure the situation. I firmly told them that I had no intention of negotiating. Frankly, I doubt they have the courage to proceed with a lawsuit. This is because if the lawsuit were initiated, it would likely drag them into even bigger problems. Meanwhile, despite my uncle's background as a trained police officer, his attempts to stop Jennifer from angrily trying to punch a hole in my wall proved utterly ineffective. Witnessing Jennifer trying to damage my house wall was an extremely frightening experience. However, what she did next after that incident only made me even angrier. She pulled a large amount of cash out of her wallet, threw it on my coffee table and said, "Let me know if you need more," before walking out. This was unbelievably unpleasant and extremely disrespectful behavior. In light of this incident, I have decided to address the matter through the internet. I am now seriously considering filing a restraining order against my family. I am confident that I have ample grounds to take such a step, especially after today's events. I am convinced that legal action would be highly beneficial. It is extremely important to uncover what truths my family has been hiding. At this point, everyone should understand just how despicable the individuals I am dealing with are. They are truly the worst, and because of that, I am genuinely looking forward to fighting them. I believe you can also understand the wickedness of the individuals I have described through this writing. I was honestly surprised that she would resort to such behavior. Perhaps she is jealous of the clearly superior life I am currently enjoying compared to hers. I am a successful business person while she has been involved in the illegal sale of drugs, and our lifestyles are fundamentally different. She throws parties every weekend, but compared to my fulfilling lifestyle, hers is insignificant, and not everyone praises her actions. When I met my parents again, after the courtroom hearing, they outwardly appeared very friendly, but I couldn't believe such a swift reconciliation could occur. Especially since my father had revealed the shocking fact to my sister that he was going to cut her out of his life. True reconciliation seemed unlikely. I now realize that not giving my parents another chance and following my intuition was the right decision. They are truly people unworthy of respect. When the verdict is handed down, I hope for an outcome unfavorable to them, and it currently seems to be heading in that direction. I am confident in my ability to handle this matter, and prepared to address everything that has happened. I feel great joy that the necessary resolutions have been achieved. I have only recently come to deeply understand how much anger and frustration my family's negative influence has caused me. I am not entirely sure if this approach is the most effective, but at the very least I am facing my emotions head on, and I take pride in that process and strongly believe in its success. Although legal proceedings were expected to take time, the conclusion came far more quickly than anticipated. Thanks to surveillance footage and the testimonies of many people through social media, my sister's illegal activities were exposed one after another. She was found guilty not only of vandalism but also of long-term drug dealing, ultimately receiving a 4-year prison sentence. My father's involvement in covering up misconduct within the police force was revealed, resulting in the loss of his job. My mother is currently receiving mental support, and her condition is gradually improving. The content I posted received an unexpectedly large response, garnering widespread support as a call out of abuse of power and corruption. Since I hadn't anticipated such developments, I feel that my decision to make the truth public was the right one. Even now, I remain focused on managing my company, and business is thriving. While my relationship with my sister and parents is not yet at a stage of reconciliation, I feel a sense of accomplishment in facing the issues they caused head on.